continue. So, hi everyone. Like we mentioned in the previous sessions as well, that we are planning this series of UiPath sessions where we not only plan to cover the technical topics, but some non-technical part of it as well, talking about licensing, enterprise use cases. That is the most of the questions that I have received from the community as well. So, previous session we just had introduction to UiPath apps and checking out the latest updates, and we built an app called Creato. I think you guys also have the recording as well. If you want to visit again and check that, it's on the same registration link. Today we are going to see a little more about UiPath apps, some of the integrations of UiPath apps. I'll not say which integrations that Dilip and Nikhil will cover, but yeah, we'll see more integrations. It will be a little more technical deep dive. We'll build an end-to-end app. We might not go into the minute things, assuming that you guys have idea about UiPath apps and have explored it to some extent. So today will be a little technical deep dive. For the sessions, we'll shortly share the links as well that are planned for sharing the enterprise level use cases and licensing as well. So throughout this session, if you have any question, feel free to put it in the chat. Me, Dilip, Nikhil, anyone of will take it, or else we'll take it by the end of the session. So yeah, over to you, Dilip and Nikhil. Thank you.
Sure, thanks, Parth. So I'll just take it from here. Yeah, so today, as Parth gave you a recap, right, what was taken over for the last session. In today's session, we'll talk in detail about UiPath apps, integration with storage buckets and queues. So before we get started, right, so let's just try to understand what exactly storage buckets are. So storage buckets are nothing but mainly a storage solution that the RPA developers can leverage in creating automation projects, right? So let me just share my screen while I say that. Yes. So can you guys see my screen?
It is loading. Yes, we can. Yes.
Yeah. So basically, storage buckets are stored. I mean, they are within these orchestrator folders itself, right? Now you can see here is the storage bucket, and you can create a storage bucket using the orchestrator. And you will be having the provision to use 3 providers, right? So you can create a storage bucket using the orchestrator, or also you can use Azure storage or Amazon S3 storage as well to create a storage bucket. So the advantage of a storage bucket is that having these, alongside being a storage solution, this also enables you to use the fine-grained permissions which are used within the folders as well. And also the users with the required permission can browse the contents of any of the configured storage bucket and also upload or download files as desired. So to give a wider or a business kind of an example, now let's say you have an expense management process, right, which involves multiple stakeholders around the globe, and you want to maintain a segregation across different regions, documents from different regions, right? So you cannot necessarily do that using a virtual machine or have different folders in that virtual machine, right? So this might necessarily break your automations. So the best way you can do that is by creating region specific folders in the orchestrator and create storage bucket within those folders and grant users the access to upload these documents. So that the bots can also use them seamlessly, right? Also, while we say that, let us just create a new storage bucket, which we'll use in showcasing the integration with UiPath apps. So now we have a storage bucket created, which is demo apps. Similarly, let us just go ahead and also create a queue, right? So what is a queue? Basically, queue is nothing but a container which enables you to hold unlimited number of items, right? So basically, it helps in storing information related to transactions. So let's say you have a process wherein you want to go ahead with processing of invoices, right? So you can store the invoice information and consider that as one particular transaction and go on processing it, right? So that's about queues. So while we create a queue, there are a couple of advantages, right? So basically queues are beneficial when you're using multiple robots to run the business processes. And not just that, you can also define a certain set of SLAs, right? Now, let's say you want to prioritize a certain set of items wherein you would want to make sure that the SLA is not being impacted. So in such cases, queues are very much beneficial. That being said, let me just create a queue. And also, let's just provide a specific schema. Ideally, it's stored in a free format, but you're also free to provide a schema, right? So the schema that I've chosen is it contains like 4 fields to store any transaction information. So let me just create that. Now let's just do one thing. Let's try to see how this integration with these queues and storage buckets work within the apps. So ideally, in before this integration scenario, how you would make use of a storage bucket, or let's say you want to upload a file through apps into the storage bucket, right? How you would essentially do is create a new process, use the storage bucket activities, right? And then call that process through apps and on the basis of certain set of triggers. Similarly, let's say you want to add an item in the queue through an app. You would again build a process and use the add transaction activities and then call that process on certain set of triggers, right? Ideally, while this is not that difficult, but it surely wasn't an efficient approach to follow, right? Due to additional efforts involved in creating a new process and also delays in triggering the process, which will definitely impact the user experience. So to avoid that, we have integrations in place. Now let's just do one thing. Let's just create a new app. Let me create an app saying demo app 1. And let's just consider a scenario wherein we are uploading some data in the queue, as in a transaction item in the queue. And not just that, we'll also upload a file into a storage bucket. So for that, let me add a couple of controls. Let me just build a simple text box, which will be used to take the input. And let me just add a file picker as well. So this file picker will be used essentially to upload the file, which will be used to upload into the storage bucket. So let me just give it a name, field 1. Let this be an upload file. Also, I'll add a button on the basis of which we'll trigger the creation of a queue item and also trigger the upload of the file onto the storage bucket. Along with that, we'll also include a document viewer, which will just pull the file from the storage bucket and display it onto this page. Now let us just configure this, right? So all we have to do is just go, before that, let me just add a queue, right? Now, in this case, we'll be choosing the demo queue, which we created. I choose the tenant. I choose the appropriate folder. This was the queue that we created. You can see, right? These are the different fields, and this is for the file name. So on a single click, you can add that queue into the orchestrator. Once that is done, we'll also add the storage bucket within the app. So this is the storage bucket that we created. Let me just add it. So now what you would want to do is on this button click, you would want a file to be uploaded onto the storage bucket. And also you would want a queue item to be created in the queue. Now let's just go on to creating a rule. you can see that these are the two activities, two rules, I must say, which are related to the storage bucket, which will help you to upload a file onto the storage bucket and also get that particular file from storage bucket. So the file that you would want to upload is the file picker value. And since we have added this as the storage bucket into our app, all we have to do is just select that app. And once the upload is completed, we also would want to add an item to the queue, right? So all you have to do is select this rule of adding an item to the queue. Select the queue that you would want to, and also provide the inputs. We have 4 inputs in this case. One is field 1, field 2, field 3, and the last one would be the file name. So in the field 1, we'll take the value of the text box. Similarly for field 2 and 3 as well. And for the file name, we'll choose the name of the file that has been uploaded. So once the file, we added the items into the queue. So once that is done, we also want to show the file in the document viewer, right? So once this is completed, the next rule that you would want to see is get that file from the storage bucket. So the storage bucket is demo apps again. And the file name that we would be choosing is the uploaded file name. Let me see if I can have this. And let's just have it stored into a new variable. Let's say I've created just a new app field. Yeah, so this is all about setting the rules. Now I would want to display that particular file as well into this document viewer, right? So all you have to do is just go on to the properties of it. And since we have saved the file name, as in the file URL in the app variable, all you have to do is just configure that over here. And that can be seen on the document viewer. Now let's just preview this app and see how it works. In the meanwhile, if you have any questions, please post them onto the chat or feel free to stop me and ask me as well. Let's say I type a value of field 1, field 2, field 3. Let me just upload a file. For this, let me choose a file, which is the, let's say I have, okay, let me choose this. Yep, on this button click, the file will now be uploaded and also the queue item will be created. And this is the file that we have uploaded, which will be showcased in this. Yep, you can see, right? Now let's just verify this upload and also the creation of an item in the queue. So if you go to the orchestrator, let's just go to the queues. We use demo queue and let's just look at the transactions. We have this new item which has been created. And also, if we go to the storage bucket, we use demo apps, and you can see that this file has been created. So yeah, this is how seamlessly you can interact with the storage buckets and the queues using UiPath apps. So drastically improving the user experience, right? I mean, from the previous scenario that we had of creating a new process and calling that process on a trigger, this is way quicker than what it was. So now Dilip will walk you through a real life scenario, a real life example, where you can
Nikhil,
actually use
hello.
these integrations. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. So my question is, if suppose I want to upload a PDF file, and that
Mhm.
PDF file contains more than one pages. Okay. So, and
Mhm.
if I want to view into the that
Mhm.
view activity,
Mhm.
so how can we view the pages? Like, suppose
It's
the
it's
file,
the same. So basically, the document viewer will have a scroll
yeah,
bar,
document
and
viewer, yeah,
yeah, so it'll have that. So you can view that easily over there.
and
You can
okay.
also
So and
configure the. I'm so
yeah,
sorry. Please go ahead.
okay, and and my next question is like,
Mhm.
what is the maximum file size we can upload into the storage bucket? So is there any restrictions or any?
Not that I'm aware of. Dilip, do you think? Do you have any idea if there's any specific limit on the size?
Storage bucket is fine. You can upload
Mhm.
anything, but while uploading to the app, right, you should probably give the configuration there, what size you want a user to be able to upload the file, right? That should be set inside an application while you develop an application. So, Nikhil, if you can move to the app to the browser, if
Mhm.
that is possible.
Yep. Let me go there. So you want me to go to the apps, right?
Yeah, please. If you can go to the file picker.
Yep. So here you can probably have it configured.
Yep. So
Allow
there is
for
the maximum file
unique
size you
file
can.
size.
But of course, if you're going to go ahead and say you want to upload 100 MB file, it is going to take time and it will hamper the user experience as well. And I don't think so. You should go ahead and allow them to upload more than 50 MB probably, because even eventually it is an internet connection, right?
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. And my next question is, if suppose I want to upload an Excel file, just my question. So
Mhm.
if suppose I want to upload an Excel file and that file contains more than one sheet, so is it possible to if I want to view all the sheets into this uh, document viewer, so is it possible? Like,
So
Document. Mhm. Yeah, Dilip, go ahead.
so we can't view Excel file as per se, right? As till now, at least we can
Yeah.
only view
You
documents
can
which
go
are
through
PDF and
PDF.
images,
Yeah.
right?
okay, PDF and images only.
Right.
Okay.
Yep. So, yeah, definitely. But you can go ahead and upload the file inside storage bucket, and then you can access through the bot, right? It would be like a centralized repository you have in storage bucket, and you can use it for any other processes.
Okay. Okay. Got it.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Abu. Any other questions?
No, nothing from my side.
Anyone else?
I think we are good.
Cool. I'll just pass
Yeah.
over the control to Dilip now. He'll be taking over and showing you a real life example wherein you can use these integrations.
Okay. Able to see my screen?
Yeah, Dilip, I
Okay,
can.
thank you so much. So before I start, I just want to know, do you guys have any idea how we can use queue and storage bucket and apps in your organization, or probably if you have any use case? Of course, we have built something, but just asking in case you have anything.
No, nothing.
Okay. So no one got an idea, or was it complicated what Nikhil explained?
Yeah, I mean, feel free to ask questions, right? I mean,
Yeah,
right from the scratch also, if you want to know. I mean, I just gave a brief, assuming that
right.
uh, the audiences are from the last session and they know what is a queue, what is a storage bucket.
So what is your question, Dilip? Sorry.
I'm just expecting like
Mm-hmm.
are they have any propagating use case they can build in their organization, probably like they can use the app queues and storage bucket integration, right, in their organization, or probably somewhere they are working. Just an idea, right? Of course, I've built something for them. I can show it, but to keep it interactive, right? To keep
Yes.
questions coming and keep it interactive, we can just have a
One
question around.
thing we can build something like certification management of all
Mhm.
the employees, where the employees can whatever certification they complete, they can come and upload that, and that can be viewed by having some admin control or some that kind of thing.
Great, great, great.
Yeah.
That looks like a use case.
Mm. Yeah.
I also have one idea like maybe say if we get some documents like data extraction from documents, it could be any kind of document. We can show it on an app. If a bot can try to fetch some data and for verification, it can be given to the user just like an action center. And once the data is submitted by the user, verified, it can go to queue, which can later be used by the bots for entering into any systems or anything like that.
Right, that is Piyush, right? That is absolutely
Yeah.
nice use case. Yep, cool. Anyone wants to say anything? So before I proceed, cool. I think I'll take it as a no.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool. So for now, what we have done is user onboarding. So, or you can, what you say for user onboarding, we will have a resume builder, right? So we tried to keep it as simple as possible. So what we are doing is we are getting the data from the user, and then we are generating a resume, a dummy resume, of course, and then we are displaying it inside a document viewer. Okay, that's the use case what we are looking at, but this can be extended to any other part, right? So let me just show you the storage bucket which we have created for now. So this is the storage bucket which is completely empty. And then we have queues where we have mentioned the user detail. Now in this queue, if I edit this, we have a schema, right, where I'm grabbing some data, right? And having a schema is very necessary to integrate with application, right? And it also ensure the standardization and no what you say, no buggy data inside the queue, right? So your bot doesn't fail in future. It's a fail safe things as well, what we can say. So this is a schema which we have, and you can find this in documentation of UiPath. So we have added some fields like first name, last name, date of birth, and few of more details like company name which they are working in, degree title, and month year. We are going to fill all this detail. It is going to pass inside the queue. And once it comes into the queue, we have a queue trigger which will automatically trigger a bot inside my machine, generate a PDF of a resume, and send it back to the application, which we would be able to view using storage bucket and document viewer. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes, yeah. I think Parth is only excited.
No, this was not me. It was
Oh,
somebody.
this was not you. I'm so sorry. Okay. Cool. So of course we can go ahead and have output data schema as well, analytics schema as well, right? Sorry, is there any question?
No, no. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, fine. So we have analytics data schema and then output data schema as well, right? And we can have fewer SLA predictions and things like that. You can configure it on your basis. I'm just going to cancel this and go to the application for now. Now, what we saw, just a recap, the storage bucket is empty and we have a queue with a trigger fitted into it. And this is the application which we have created. I'll go in a preview mode first and show the application how it works. So this is the portal, right? We have few tabs here. And if I just press get document, it is going to say there are no documents specified as such in the storage bucket for now. And I have a add user, right? I'm going to fill out my detail inside this. We'll see how it has been configured. All right. My date of birth, I'm just born, so my email ID. And these are the mandatory fields, right? If I just mess up with this email ID, it is going to throw me an error like enter the valid email ID. So if I just enter any rubbish thing, it is going to throw an error for me. And this is impromptu, right? Phone number, and then I'm working in the company, the job title, and then we'll have a start date and the end date. Right, we can add description. This is what last time Parth also showed, right? This is a rich text editor. You can go ahead and have very systematic fonts and things like that. You can add table and images and formatize your text in the need you want, right? I'm just going to not put anything because this is not a mandatory field, and we are anyways not using this field for now. Then we have education. So I'm going to say ABC, and my degree title would be XYZ. And the pass out year would be anything for now. And once I hit submit button, okay, it is saying the queue item violates a specified input schema, and this makes sure that it is not going to take any queue input, which is invalid, right? It is throwing that error because we have not uploaded any image. I'm going to upload the image, and once I upload it, I'm going to say submit. Now, once I hit submit, it is going to say queue item has been added successfully. It will start a bot in my machine, which you won't be able to see for now, right? But let me go to the queue. If I view the transaction for now, it is, so this is in progress and it has started a few seconds ago on my machine, right? Now it will take few seconds to generate that PDF and give it back inside the storage bucket, but let's see our storage bucket for now. So here is the image which we uploaded as a from the application, right? It is already available here now, and it will reflect in our PDF document as well. So here is the PDF document which has been generated. And if I go back to the application, right, if I go to the user details, and now if I say get the document, it is going to load the resume. Of course, this is a dummy resume and it doesn't contain a lot of information, which you can definitely add if you want. And this is the image which we posted through the application, which came here, right? And this is the PDF, which you can download it or save it wherever you want, or you can also print it and do highlight some of the things and send it across. Do we have any? Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, Dilip. So what are we using to display this file over here?
We are using document viewer. I'm going to go into more detail if that is what I'm going to do, but
So
we are using
document viewer has this functionality of save at text and all that.
Yes. So you have to make sure that yeah, it has, definitely it has.
Okay. UiPath user onboarding. This is amazing that we can save the files or have
Right.
it right away, like if you want to print or anything like that. I think a
Right.
lot of use cases can be implemented using this
Right. So I
feature.
was going to give an example of this, right? I don't know if anyone is still studying in college, or is anyone?
Uh,
I don't know if there is, but I came through this use case, right? The apps was not there back in when I was studying 2018, right? We had this amazing fest at our college, right? And we used to generate the pass for that EDM or
right,
whatever we have,
right.
right? And then you have to grab the details from the user, and then you have to give out the pass. This is the best way to give out, right? You can just go ahead, save it, and whenever they want require, they lost it, they can just go here and download it, right?
Yep. No, this is good. Okay. Yeah.
Sure. So let's go in little detail. Let's go into little detail how we build this. So Of course, there is a tab setting here, right, which we have included. So we have two tabs for now, right? Add user and user details, where we have called the specific pages, which we developed separately, right? This is mostly in a reusable manner, right? We develop the pages and we can reuse for a multiple purposes. Then we have add user, where we have multiple sections of personal details and experience, and then education. This is what last time Parth also explained. This is simple fields which we have dragged in from the add control panel, right? These are input panel which we have dragged in from to set up some configurations, right? So if you want to say this particular field is an email ID, you can just go ahead and say this is an email ID. Or if you want a phone number, you can say this is a number field, right? It can't get a text from a user. You can do that. And you can have, you can throw a custom error message, or if you want to mark this as a required field, you can do that. And there is a tooltip as well available. You can add particular event if you want to trigger any event if the value is getting changed inside the email ID field, or any, for that matter, any of the fields you have. Upload image is the interesting one. So here we have a 10 MB file and we have allowed only PNG, JPG, and JPEG. Now you can allow the file extension, whatever you like, right? For now, we have just included this, right? And you can definitely, once the file is added, you can create a rule and apply it to the storage bucket directly. What we have done is, after the submit button is hit, we have created a rule where we go ahead and upload the file to the storage bucket. Now to upload this, I'll just go ahead and show you from scratch once again what Nikhil showed. So which file you have to upload, you just have to select from the add user page, and then you might have a file picker value, right? You just select this and what storage bucket you want to add to. Now, if you don't have any storage bucket included, you can click on this add button and select the appropriate folder, right? You won't have access to all the folders in your organization. You would be very specific, right? Controlling the, like, you will have a RBAC in place. Right now, I'm the admin of this tenant, so I'm able to access all the folders here. So you can just go ahead and probably, I think it's in shared. You can add any of the storage bucket which you have access to. Once you do that, you will get the description and whatever things you have, right, set up by the admin. You will get that. If you want to go back, you can just pick a different tenant and you can load it from different tenants as well, right? Do we have any queries till now? Just go back. Cool. I think I was pretty clear, or otherwise no one understood what I want to say. But yeah, we can grab the storage bucket here. Now there is a provision to auto-generate the name of the file, or you can also provide the name of the file. That should not be a problem. If you want to specify the name of the file, you can do that. But generally we use auto-generate name, and this feature start building out the name by having a GUI ID in place, right? That's how it works. Right. Then we have set a value to the local variable in app. To create a local variable in app, what you can do is, I just say set values. You can scroll down and you can add app variables inside this. You can add any app variable and you can access that. You can set that. I have set that here already, and the file name is set here. So I can pass that inside the queue item, right? Now, these are the fields which we have configured inside the schema, right? But how does it come here? That should be a question coming to you. But let me show you how it comes here. So I'll just go back, scroll down, go to the queues. Once you have a queue here, once you add a queue inside this, right, from using this pop-up, you can go inside this user detail. Once you refresh it and see the input, you would have all the details which has been added inside the queue. So you don't have to wander around what is the schema, what I can do, because of course the schema is going to be set by any admin who is working on the queue. An app might be developed by a different person. So you would be able to see all the details which are there inside that as well. Any queries?
We are good, Dilip.
You're good. Okay, fine. That's great to hear.
So Dilip, one question. Now the
Mhm,
variables that you are creating on
mhm,
a single page,
mhm.
do their values are retained if you refer them on other pages as well?
Definitely. Yep. It is. It has a complete scope. It doesn't
So
rely
it's
on one page. It's
global
global.
variable.
Yep.
Okay.
It's a
Okay.
global variable, and you can reassign, of course, to that same variable.
Right.
So
Right. Right.
where I was. Okay, I was on submit button. Okay, let's go to the user detail page. I'll just toggle this.
That
And of
is
course,
more interesting.
yep. So if I go here, and the point is, right, we are not following the best practices here. As you can see, we have just mentioned second column, second body A. You have to rename according to your standard, right? We are not following complete standard here, but you should follow the best practices. Now here what I've did is I wanted to show you how first name and last name would be used. Therefore, I deliberately entered my name because it is going to capture my first name and last name, and then I'm able to get that file from the storage bucket and assign it to the variable. Here I've reassigned the same variable which was created in the main page, right? And the storage bucket is here. This is just a simple drag and drop activity. Now to talking about document viewer, we have just mentioned the file upload, what you say, the file upload variable here, and the style we have configured few of the size, and we have just configured the size and nothing else we have done. So any queries, that's all how we have configured. We can go in more detail if anyone has queries around any of the component or whatever you have.
So, Dilip, those options for save as and everything is just like how we open a PDF on a browser and gives us those options. So that is just they are coming by default and not
Right.
something
There
yeah.
is no configuration need. Yep. I was going to say that at that point of time when Parth asked me, but I was like, let's go into the things. Yep.
Wow. Because that was really amazing. I was thinking maybe you added something else as
No, no, no.
I didn't saw those features earlier. So, one question about the document viewer.
Mhm.
Like earlier, Nikhil mentioned that there a scroller comes when you have multiple pages, but is there a way we can add a button instead of a scroller for multiple page? Or say if I have got a 10 pages PDF and I want to show only a single page out of it.
So that is not possible as of now, I guess. That is not possible,
I
but
think
you
you
can
should already
definitely
have that. You can, yeah, it's not a button per se, but you can just navigate using a different
navigate to, yeah.
Okay. So is this like for PDF, we know that that's how a browser also shows when you open it in a browser, gives you the
Mhm.
options. But if we talk about other documents like a Word document or some other one, and will it have? Can we create a logic something like by us by using events and rules?
So there is an activity like you can upload it to SharePoint and something, and so sorry, it's not here.
The iframe
Yeah, you
and
can
so
use iframe and then show that thing in here, right? I think Nikhil and I have done with the Google Sheet where we displayed here, but
on.
the point is you can't do any you can't present actual Excel here, Microsoft Excel, which is on your desktop. That can't be done, unfortunately.
Okay. And what are you doing? Like initially, when you ran the app submit button, a bot was executed in the background. So
Right.
what is being done by that bot? Because from what I see, we are adding some data,
Mhm.
image to storage bucket and this PDF file. So these can be done by the app itself, right?
Right.
And then what we are doing by the bot.
So, okay, let me bring my other screen now. So we have, I've built a bot. Let me just get this. Okay, it's opening. Give me a minute. So we just have a simple document in place, right? We are just replacing the fields, replacing the bookmarks actually with what we have created, replacing the images as well here, right? That's what we are doing, right, in the backend.
Okay.
So
Got it.
just consider like the scenario of probably you want to give an option now to choose a template, right? This is one template we have. right? You can go ahead and say to the user, choose any one of the template which I have, like 10 templates I have, choose one template, and I'll create a resume for you, or I'll create a document for you. I'll create an insurance copy for you with a QR code, with everything in place, right?
Got it. And how will it be impacted if we have multiple users using this app at the same
Great
time?
question. Great question. So right now, what we can do is whenever you trigger a process, right? So what I've done is I've added to the queue, and then the bot is executing, right? So eventually it is going to the queue, right? It is not going to impact any of the front end user who is using it. It is going to trigger an unattended bot. It will start executing, and then it will give the output. So user can use it, like many of the users can use it, this application, and start generating their documents. That should not give an impact. Of
But
course, if
say
you're
if
talking about duplicacy,
no, I'm worried about the user experience. Like we have got 10 people using this right at the same time,
mhm,
and since most like it could be possible that we will have to use a front end activities with the bot, then and we have a single runner. So in that scenario, once the single user clicks on submit, one bot would be in action at the background. At this moment, the bots that when other 9 users click on submit, those
mhm.
bots will go in pending state. So is there any way we can improve the time delay which is being faced by all the users?
You can have multiple bots, right? You have queue. You can have multiple bots to execute that simple queue, right?
Mhm.
And
For
they
that,
can
we would
they can go
need
in parallel. Yeah.
that many runners would be required, right?
Or once what you can, yeah, that would be required. That is not an option, right? That
Yeah.
is not that is not an option. Parth or Nikhil, if you can add anything.
The more seamless experience you need, the more robots you need.
Yeah. I, or what
Okay.
you can do is, right, if this is going to be a user specific, right? If user specifics, or you want to do it an attended automation, so once a user go ahead and hit a submit button, you can start a process from the application itself, from the app, rather than passing it to the queue. Start a process through an app in an attended fashion, so it will run on a user's desktop machine rather than going to an unattended bot. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And okay, so say now we have got all, let's say the process is background. So now n number of processes can run at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
But now the number of users is increased. Our application became popular,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like like you mentioned about an event in the college, there would be 100, 200 students applying at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Will it impact the any latency with the app? Like so many users using it at the same time.
No, it should not impact. I previously, in the previous call also, this question was arised, and I told like one of our customers is probably using contact center with hundreds of users, right? They are not still having an impact there. They're using seamlessly.
He was the same person. Wow.
Yeah, I am the same
Oh,
person.
you're the same person. Okay, and I'm the same person to answer.
Because currently I'm working on an application, and I'm currently working with apps and data service,
Mhm.
and I am seeing that as the amount of data is increasing in the data service, the delay is also increasing. Currently bot is taking about 12 to 15 seconds to push data into the data service and again pull back from the data service.
So,
So this 12 to 15 is per single user.
so
When
are
I'm
you using the production?
Yes,
No,
it's enterprise.
enterprise edition, right? Okay. You have to check your plan probably, because we have the number of calls of API and the payload which you are receiving and sending out, right? You should have a filter in place to go ahead with data service. Of course, we have a session
Mhm.
next week, right, Parth, if I'm not wrong, about data service.
No, next week we are not having. We have enterprise use cases next week.
Okay, so that,
But
that
yeah,
there is
we
going to be.
can cover post sessions as well. There's not a problem. But yeah, you go ahead. What you were saying.
So I was just saying that you have a payload, right? If you are going to hit a Google API with 4 MB of payload, it is definitely going to take a time. So what you should do, the best practice is you filter out the data, right, which is coming in. You don't want every data to be coming. So
Yeah, we are filtering it out to the maximum. So we
okay.
are just grabbing the data that we need. So
Mhm.
basically, Dilip, our use cases, we want simultaneous data in the app for the user. If they click on submit, they are submitting some data. It should be saved in the data service, and it should be represented in front of the user as well on screen. Like for example, there is a notes column, we are adding some notes, clicking on submit, the notes should appear on the screen at that moment. So in the backend, notes is going to the data that user has added, it is going to the data service, and then apps is again pulling the data from the data service to refresh what is on the screen. Because at one time multiple users would be using the app, so it might be possible I have updated something, you have updated something, and as a user I want both the entries to be visible to me.
I guess this is how the apps work. Nikhil, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but this is how the apps work. And what I was thinking is probably it is about optimization in the logic or the code, what we are like optimization of the process rather than uh,
Making any changes.
making any changes happen. Yeah.
So any advice like what I can focus on to optimize?
Oh, this is a great question, but we don't know your like we have to go through the use case what you're building completely end to end, and then we can talk about it, what we can do in the process.
Okay, maybe Dilip, we can connect offline on LinkedIn or something, and we can discuss it out.
Sure. Let's see. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Also talking about parallelism, right? If you have a literally background process, you're not doing any foreground, you can use serverless bot and this runs in parallel. I mean parallel, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is what you can use. This is our new feature. I don't know whether you guys are aware of or not, but you can use serverless robot to do a background process.
Okay.
Okay. Are there any questions other than this?
I created a sample login application in UiPath Apps. I was trying to create backend Excel database for that one. So while I was adding data to that particular field and clicking on that login button, I'm getting error like object reference not set to an instance.
The process is not like there is some blank variable going, I guess. That's the whole explanation for that thing, right? Object reference not set to an instance of an object.
Okay.
We have to check the process in that case.
Okay.
Probably you're hitting a login and then a certain process is running in the backend, but you're getting a pop-up on the application in the red.
Yes, at first I'm
yeah.
getting like process execution started. Soon
Mhm.
after that, I'm getting like process error. Then object reference not set to an instance of an.
So
Might
what
be
you
we have
can
to-
do
Yeah.
is just have a log message at the start of your process. The values from apps that you are passing, just log that and see that whether you are getting the correct values or not. If it is empty, that means
Okay.
the arguments are not mapped properly. So I think that will solve the issue.
Okay, I will see. Okay, thanks.
Thanks.
I'll stop share if there are no
Yeah,
further
yeah.
questions, and
Oh, we can still take questions. I think
yeah, we can
stop
still
it.
take questions, but I'll stop share. Yeah.
So how many of you all attended the first session as well and are here today as well, other than Dilip?
I am one.
Okay. Anyone else? I remember. Anyone else who attended both the session, the last session as well and today as well?
So I am also attended both these sessions.
I
Okay.
also attended.
Okay. Okay. So any
I also
feedback that
attended.
you would like to give to us comparing both these sessions or anything, feel free to share that. So since we are planning more other sessions as well, so we will have more better idea that how we can come more prepared or what content we can bring in this sessions. So please share your feedback if you guys have any.
Part like personally I would like a session more on efficiency, like now we are learning how to create apps. Maybe we can, if we can show that this is one way you create an app, but there is an efficient way to do the same thing to reduce the latency or the issues.
Okay, so now with respect to this thing, Piyush, right, with respect to efficiency, this is definitely something that we can look upon. But one thing is with respect to apps, right, what I feel is that the more complex things that you try to do, right, so here it is not like how we have C Sharp and VB.NET functions that do this as well, do that as well, do that as well. We don't have that many options itself in the first place of doing one thing in 10 different ways on the app. So there is where the restriction is. I think the product is also developing. So in future, we might have more updates on how to update the real-time data or have real-time chart or something like that. Because right now the features and functionalities are itself limited. So it's like you do one or two things and then that's it. You cannot, do a
Uh,
lot of try and error with that. So that is the thing that
So, Parth, like if I rephrase my question, like as
Hmm.
we talked earlier, there are multiple ways to do one thing. So, say for example, one way is you add some control on the screen, and by default, a control layout, a container would come up, and you would be adding your control in it. But after developing bot, like I rebuilt my entire app twice, I found that using container instead of a container layout gives you a more freedom to set your controls
right,
on a very nicely. So, and they
right,
are adjustable to the screen resolution as well. So
right.
I guess that is one best practice I would suggest to anyone if I am moving forward or like I am sharing with someone.
Definitely.
So similarly, if we have something else, like based on your experience, Nikhil or Dilip, if you think that this is
Hmm.
something you came across, like second, one more I can give. So when I'm trying to filter a data, in general,
Hmm.
what we would do, we would say our filter control. We will say that this is the database and this is the condition, but that is not the best practice. For the best practice, you can say if your filter has some value to be applied, there should be an
Hmm.
if condition. Then only that filter should be applied, else it should be null. So that way your filter query would be reduced. Even though there
Right,
are 10 to 15 filters,
right,
the actual one would be very less.
right,
Similarly,
right.
if you guys have anything from your
So
experience,
one thing what I will suggest to you is when you go to UiPath Apps documentation, right? There are
Mhm.
multiple how-tos over there that have to do this, have to do that, right? There are I think 7 to 8 something 7 to 8 things
Yeah,
to
I
which
know.
there are there. Then there is, if you are working with data service, then there is with respect to data service as well and data context. So for there as well, that are some articles. So I think that should solve many of your problems. And after that, I will say that something can't be taught or said. You only learn from mistakes. So
Yeah, that's
that
the thing. Some things
that
you
is
can only learn from mistakes.
right.
So
So
I
that is
was,
something
that's nice.
you
That's
can
correct.
build, right? So you try to make videos on this thing, right? And
Nice idea.
then yeah, then you try to make videos on this, and if anyone is doing some things similar, they can also collaborate with you, and you guys can come up with that kind of content on forum, on YouTube, or anywhere else, or maybe like yeah, whatever. So that kind of things are there, Piyush.
Cool.
Yeah. Anyone else? Any other feedback? Since we have time, so I would like to take some feedback. Positive, I'm okay with that. Need more other feedbacks if any.